good afternoon. And thanks again to the product conference team for your kind invitation. So my name is Alex, and 23 years ago, during a hot summer night, I was surfing the internet, and I met a woman who would change my life. And her name was Sibel, and our love didn't last too long. We got, tired of each other, but I'm still in touch with her, and this is Sibel. She was a very early chatbot, and when I discovered that, I was really fascinated by this technology and the fact that you can teach a machine to understand you, to have a conversation with you, and do things for you. So I thought Sibel was the very first chatbot, but I was wrong. And you can go back to 1966 at the MIT, where a researcher called Weizenbaum wrote a program called ELIZA. And ELIZA is really the grandmother of all chatbots. And it was 58 years ago. So when today you see ChatGPT and think it's new, don't forget that it's been a long, long time and lots of work to get there. Eliza is very simple. She's a psychoanalyst. So it's very easy for a psychoanalyst to, when they don't listen to you because they were doing something else, they can return your question and say, oh, tell me more about that, or why do you say this? And so these little tricks made it very, very impressive back then. And actually, if you go further in the past, we can go back to God. In our field of computer science, Alan Turing is God. And it's very interesting to note that Alan Turing, when he wrote a paper in 1950 and trying to define what does it mean for a machine to be intelligent, he defined the intelligence on the capacity to have a conversation. And so this is what we call, as you know, the Turing test. And Turing said, if a machine can have a conversation with somebody, and after some time, this person doesn't know that it's a machine, this machine is intelligent. So it's very interesting to see that the concept of chatbot was born at the same time with computer, not only AI, but computer science in general. So we have to go back to Turing. So I was not the first one to be, to fantasize on chatbots, but I wanted to spend my life with Sibel and her sisters. And so I started a company in Suresnes in 2002 called VirtuOz to sell chatbots to companies for customer service. So we thought it was the best industry, the best use case, if you will, where we can apply this very early and very hard to build chatbot technology. So back then, we start to sell chatbots, and we have to explain our customers it's live chat, but it's automatic. And our customers ask, but what is live chat? So back then, if some of you remember, even live chat was not understood widely, and we were already doing automatic live chat, so probably too early on the market with that. But still, it worked, and we soon had about 1 billion automatic conversation on VirtuOz. You see some of our customers, and I must say thank you again 20 years later to SNCF. You don't think about SNCF as like the most risk-taking company in the world, but in our case, they were the very first to take the risk to put Lea on their website to handle customer service chat. We worked a lot. It was our first customer, so excited. And on the launch day, the CEO of SNCF booking asked, tested the chatbot and said, bonjour, mon nom est erroné sur la réservation. And our chatbot answered, bonjour, erroné sur la réservation. And then we started, okay, it's actually harder than we thought, and it's very, very hard to do that. We also had some tricks that were very efficient. So every time the chatbot received a question starting with who, he would answer I don't know, but it's not me. So if you say, who invented car? He say, I don't know, but it's not me. And it was very impressive in the conversation. But one day, for a big French bank, a customer asked who has the best service for banking. And the chatbot with the logo of the bank said, oh, I don't know, but it's not me. And so slowly, as we grew, we had to remove our funny stuff, especially when we launched a few years later in the US, where if you have the slightest risk of like sexual or conduct or things like that, you're dead. And so we had to slowly remove all our tricks. So you see other examples. We worked for Fnac with small videos that we managed in real time. And Bibendum. And this was our own chatbot on our website. You see, it was a long time ago. I wouldn't put this on a B2B website today, but back then it was OK. So we had a lot of fun, and we made so many mistakes. I think we made every possible mistake, like launching this called Skaz. And it's a B2C product where, for teenagers, where every user can build their own bot and teach its bot knowledge. And when the user go offline on Facebook, on MSN Messenger, it was the chat back then, their bot would go online and try to replace them. Very, very dangerous, because your friend come to talk to you, they send you a message, and your bot is answering without saying it's a bot. And so you lose control of everything, but it was very funny. We had a lot of fun building this. We actually launched with M6, the TV station, but it was a mistake. And our investors told me every day, Alex, you shouldn't do that. Never do B2B, B2C. Nobody does it well. Even Google, Microsoft don't do it well. It's impossible to have two different products, especially for a startup. And I said, no, we are different. We will make it. But they were right, and we shouldn't have done that. But we had a lot of fun. This company lasted 10 years, actually. So this is me very proud with a Sequoia Capital term sheet that we didn't sign, another mistake. And after, so we moved to the US, hired a US CEO, fired the US CEO, I became CEO again, and finally, after 10 years, we sold the company to a big US company called Nuance Communications, who is part of Microsoft today. So it was an interesting journey where, again, we did every possible mistake without dying. And I noticed when we sold to Nuance, we were selling our product $100K, $100,000, and suddenly they started to sell exactly the same product, $1 million. And I started to understand the power of distribution, sales. It's probably more important than anything else, and I'll get back to this along my presentation. Same product, 10 times more expensive, because they had the enterprise sales network, and that we didn't have. Something interesting happened in 2011, the birth of Siri. I don't know if you remember that. So again, Apple, like usual, took something that was not new, but made it right or almost right, and pushed it to the market. And when a company like Apple does that, it gives many ideas to many people. And so suddenly, and I think this is what's happening with AI today and ChatGPT, suddenly many people have many ideas to add conversational AI UI to their products because they discover Siri. I spent 10 years not able to tell my grandmother what I was doing, and after Siri was born, I was finally able to tell her. So it's this kind of moment. And so we saw that more and more people would want to add conversational AI to their product, either to build a bot or to add voice interface in their car or in their house, and so on. And at this point, it was very, very expensive and complicated to do that. You had to write a dictionary, a grammar, pay $1 million to some consultants to write some rules. And so it was really only possible for very large corporations. And so we had the idea, just a few months after we joined Nuance, actually I left, to build a service called Wit.ai, which is for developers, so it's an API that turns natural language, speech or text in different languages, into actionable data that you can feed into your software or your, whatever you are building as a developer. So it's very simple. We used the comparison with Stripe. You could do payments before Stripe, but it was a nightmare. You had to call a bank, do meetings, pay a lot of money, and then suddenly everybody can do payments. We did the same for natural language processing. It was very easy for us to build this and to have this idea because it's what we needed in our previous company. So when you are the user, it's not always possible, but when you are the user, it's much easier to build something because you build what you need and you know exactly what you need. And so we started to work on that. We started the company in Palo Alto. And the thing I'm really proud of is we were the first .ai domain. And I have the proof here, because when we launched on Hacker News in September 12, 2013, you see show HN Siri as a service for developers with .ai. We were first on Hacker News, the best launch possible. And the top comment was, the AI extension is cute, but I don't think people will understand it's an extension. So you see how in 10 years we moved from this to the situation today where if you don't have AI somewhere, nobody will invest or care about you. And for Wit, we knew that distribution was key because we had made this mistake before. And so our idea was to create a developer community. And then if developers use your product for everything, from side projects, trials, beta things, and then they use it every day, one day, when they need something for their corporation, they will use your product. So we chose this bottom-up go-to-market that works really well if you can build a developer community. And actually, the core algorithms we were using in machine learning to build this were open. It was like our secret. It was Stanford Core NLP, so it was an open source library. Everybody thought we had an incredible algorithm, but actually we were just using an open source algorithm. The secret was we had more data, and we had more data because we had a huge developer community. And so I saw the power of working first on distribution and community and design the product for that instead of first build a product and then think, okay, now how will I push my product? I need to create a community. We really did the other way, and it worked for us. It worked, and one day I deleted an email. I thought it was a scam from somebody called Mark Zuckerberg after 2 years at Wit.ai, and so Facebook wanted to acquire us because they wanted to make it very easy for Facebook Messenger developers to build bots, and we were a service, a very narrow service that fitted their need. The fact that at Wit.ai we had a very big discipline to stay very focused, to do only one thing. Despite many users, as you know well if you are product managers, every day wanting more features, more things, we were really focused on a very narrow, only one feature, turning natural language into data and nothing else. And because of that, Facebook wanted to buy us. It's very hard for an acquirer to buy your company if you do many things a little bit. They want to buy one thing very clean and nothing else. It makes things much easier for them. So we joined Facebook in Menlo Park in California at this time. And in 2015, I discovered a new world for me, the world of large companies. And Facebook was incredibly impressive. Facebook, at this time at least, when I was there, has the power of a startup where you have a lot of freedom to do whatever you want. The decision time is very quick, but you have billions of dollars if you need to annotate data or hire people or do things. So you have the best of both worlds of a startup and a large company, and it was a very unique moment. So I worked on a project called M, which is an assistant built-in Facebook Messenger, powered by a combination of human concierge, so human people, but these people are augmented by AI. So the AI is learning from observing what they do, and then helps them to be very, very efficient, and in some instances can replace a human completely, but it's not the end goal. And to give you a story about how easy it was to get resources at Facebook, after just a few weeks over there, I wanted to hire 100 concierge in Menlo Park, so it's very expensive, and it was not in the budget. So I had a meeting with Zuckerberg, and so when you have a meeting with him, you have to send the day before what you are looking for, what question you want to ask, what is your ask. When I arrived at the meeting, I was ready to defend my project, to answer any objection, to defend my project. But he starts to speak and he says, Alex, I read everything. I'm very excited by your project. I think we shouldn't hire 100 concierge. We should hire 10,000 concierge to go faster. And then we will beat Google and take their business, their search business. Of course, I was super frightened. I didn't want to have 10,000 people. I was not sure my stuff would work. And so I started to say exactly the contrary of everything I had prepared, like, it won't work, maybe not, we need to check that, we should go slower. And so I said exactly the contrary. To this day, I don't know if it was a strategy from Mark to know the truth, or if he was genuinely excited by this project and he wanted to beat Google. So I still don't know, but I hired actually 200 concierge at this time. So during my time at Facebook in 2017, one paper was published, very important paper, called Attention is All You Need. And so you probably know this is a paper from mostly Google researchers that introduced transformers, so a new structure for neural network. Transformer is a T in GPT. And of course, after this paper, we had BERT and then GPT, GPT-2, GPT-3, and the rest is history. So we saw that we were entering a new phase of AI where many things would become possible if we tried to process them with a large language model instead of traditional algorithms where we train one model for every task. With LLM, we just use natural language, a chat kind of interface, to solve many problems. And it's crazy that it's more efficient, actually, than the old way, and it's very, very generic. So when we saw that at Facebook with my team, we thought, okay, we've been 4 years at Facebook, it was nice, but now let's go out in the world and apply this research to a business problem, take it as a product. And we selected health, which was not an easy choice. You may know that go-to-market is extremely difficult in healthcare. You have a cemetery of startups who had a very good idea, but no go-to-market. It's very complicated because you have the patient and they don't want to pay. You have the physician, the doctors, and they don't want to change anything. And you have the payer, in France, Sécurité Sociale, who is paying for everything, but they don't really know what's happening, so they don't want to change it either. And so as a startup, you're in the middle, waiting for someone to move, and nobody moves. In our case, we had to go outside of France to start. When we started, we didn't know where to start, actually. So we made a bold decision to start full stack, meaning instead of building software with AI for doctors or for patients, we started our own clinic. And we thought, okay, let's hire doctors, let's start our clinic, and so we can every day see what problems they have and what we should build in front of us. It will be easier to discover. So going full stack is a very nice way to discover the right problem. It's very expensive because you need to run a business. In this case, hiring doctors is very expensive, but it's very, very efficient. And this is how we discovered that the problem we wanted to solve, that most doctors spend half of their day today doing administrative work. They write a report at the end of each consultation, they fill some forms, they have to manage Sécurité Sociale forms, and many, many things. Well, as a patient, when you are in a consultation, you see that they are not looking at you. They are typing on their computer and very stressed by that because they need to get this done. But even after you leave the room, they continue to work on paperwork for you. And it's ridiculous. Nobody has studied 12 years or more of medicine to end up as a secretary. And this is the situation today. So owing to our full stack approach, we discovered that this was the right problem. The right problem was not to do science fiction, new diagnostics with but very fancy thing, but to just solve one problem for them the administrative problem. And so Nabla is a very simple app. It runs on a phone, where that is an AI assistant for doctors that connect to the patient records and listening all day what the doctor is saying and what patients are saying and which decision the doctor is making. And it will document these decisions and generate all the paperwork needed. So not only the clinical note, but also writing referral letters, updating records, managing a relationship with insurer, and so on. So we do one thing for doctors, but we try to do it well. This is what we do at Nabla. It's, again, I want to speak about distribution today because I think this is something we engineers and we PM and product people, we tend to forget. At Nabla, our competitor is Nuance, the same Nuance that bought my company 10 years ago, so I'm back and say, hey, it's me again. And they have hundreds of salespeople in the US. We cannot beat them at their game. We cannot hire 100 salespeople right now and build distribution network. So we needed to have a different distribution strategy. So we decided to do, as you know, product-led growth, so bottom-up go-to-market. And we decided to make our product easy to use for individual physicians. They can go on nabla.com, and 2 or 3 minutes later, they see the value of the product. They can use it in their practice. And it's very, very powerful, because these doctors, usually, they also work at the hospital or in large clinics. And after they get used to the product, even if they use a free version, they want their hospital to buy it. And so we have doctors, we have 30,000 doctors using our product today, and many of them became our salespeople inside hospitals in many countries in the world, especially in the US. So again, and we thought about that. We made a lot of mistakes, but this is one thing where we didn't make a mistake. So before we designed the product, we had distribution in mind and thought we need to go through another gateway. So we'll go bottom up and we'll build a product that can be used for this kind of go-to-market. So in our case, it means a mobile app, not even a mobile app, but a mobile web product that you just need to type the URL on your phone. And also there is a Chrome extension that you can use for telehealth visits. So this is our distribution. We raised money, and today after five years of work, we are at this point with 30,000 doctors. We process 4,000 of real-time audio every day, and our users are very happy with the product. So to finish, I just summarize and tell 3 things I wish I had heard at LPC 2004, it's not a typo. I know there was no LPC 20 years ago, but I think I would have saved a few years in my life if I had heard these 3 things 20 years ago. Focus, distribution, and it's not over. So first, focus. It's a cliche. In any startup school, they tell you should focus, do only one thing, but the reality is the temptation to do a few things at least is too big, because we are afraid to make the wrong decision, for instance, to target user A, because we don't know really if user A will like the product, and so we will target a little bit of A, B, C, D. And it's very, very hard to have this discipline. If you're not saying no at least once a week to a user or to an ID or to a feature, it means you're not focused enough. It's very difficult because in most cases, your decision of which narrow target you should select will be wrong, of course. You don't have the data to make this decision. The secret is to fail fast, as we say at Facebook, meaning you have to realize very quickly that it's wrong, very, very honest with yourself. Don't choose your friends in your beta tester group, because they will always tell you, yeah, it's great, they don't want to hurt your relationship. And try to get real feedback and fail very fast. And the secret is to fail often and to select a next narrow target, fail, next one, fail, next one, and until we find the right go-to-market and the right product-market fit. But the temptation to spread your bet on the table is very big, and when I mean, even as PM, I know it's a mistake we do very often. And fail fast again is not easy. All these things are easy to say, but hard to put in practice. Failing fast, for instance, at Facebook, when as a leader at Facebook, you kill one project, you decide to stop a project, you get a bonus. It's crazy. I saw that when I arrived. And the reason many big companies are dying slowly is there are 200 active projects. And every project, there is a sponsor, like a leader, who is politically defending their project because 3 years ago, they wanted to do something, and they want to keep it alive because they don't want to be wrong. And so this is what is killing the companies when you have 200 small projects sucking 3 engineers and 1 PM each, and actually nothing meaningful is done. So at Facebook, we had this bonus to kill projects and say, OK, I was wrong, and you get money for being wrong, but it's less expensive for the company compared to keeping something alive. I think it's a good lesson, and we should apply this. The second thing is distribution. I talked a lot about distribution. The first 2 parts of this slide are what you hear every day in startup school, and as a PM, of course, that bad engineers, they are dumb, they find a cool technology and they want to use it, and they find something to do with it and try to build a product out of it, and it's a mistake. Obviously, it's a mistake. And then, so they tell you, you should start, and I wrote the salesperson, but I wanted to write the product manager. The PM start with a problem, why, blah, blah, blah. Let's solve this problem for our users, and then what product or what technology do I need to solve this problem? What I learned personally is that actually we should go further than that, and distribution should be the first thing. Is not only what problem, but how will my customers buy my product, through which channel, through which intermediaries, and why will it scale very quickly? And if you start with the distribution in mind, it will help you frame the problem, and then the final step will be to select the technology and the product. So again, we always forget distribution, whereas I think if you want to build, scale up a real high-scale company, we should start by this. And the third point is not over. And I know this feeling that every day you have an OpenAI announcement, raise 1 billion, this product is incredible, or this company has raised 200 million, and there is an overwhelming feeling that it's already over, it's too late. Okay? Things have been done, and it's too late to build something. And it's really a big mistake. 20 years ago, in 2004, we felt that e-commerce was finished. Everything had been done, it was over, and of course it was not the case. At this point of time, for instance, for mobile internet, there was mobile internet on mobile phone, but what people did is take the big desktop website and put a very small font and squeeze it into a mobile phone screen and say, OK, this is my mobile experience. And it's very interesting to see that the company who were leading at this time, for instance, in dating, companies like Mythic or Match, they didn't build Tinder. Tinder was built by a startup. They didn't think, OK, let's use the GPS and the camera in the phone to provide a completely different experience for dating. And you can see every shift in paradigm. Typically, the incumbents just add a little bit of the new thing in the old way they see the problem. They don't invent something completely new. And I think we are exactly at this stage with AI. Today, most of the AI that is deployed is in the Copilot range, and including my company, Nabla. We are adding AI to the old way to solve problems. So in our case, we save 2 hours per day for doctors. That's great. But we don't change the fact that there is a consultation, there is a sécurité sociale form to fill, there is, we don't change the process. We just add oil in this process. And it's true, I think, today with AI almost everywhere. And it's always start like that with a Copilot era where we take the new technology and just sprinkle it on the old products. And for me, in AI, the really new things haven't been done yet, haven't been discovered, and it won't be always the incumbent company who will do that, but probably young startups that maybe you will start tomorrow. And so my final sentence is, what are you going to build? Thank you.